I had a viewer that posted a comment, actually a question about having a car acid dip. Had I ever had one acid dip? And I have different ways to do it. And as you can see by these photos, depends on what you have, right? So if you have something that you can just, scuff up and put some, primer sealer down or um, basically some sort of primer down over it and paint over it. Of course, that's the easiest and most simple and the most inexpensive way to do it. But you have to keep in mind, not all substrates are good for painting over. Different substrates require different methods. So it all depends on what you want to put into your project. On this truck, it's a 1995 Ford truck. It has a base coat, clear coat from the factory and one respray on it. What I did was use 400 grit sandpaper, sanded it smooth, put the body work on top of it, and actually I used a block to actually use the material that's already there to block it. That gets it really straight, and you can see by the reflections it gets it really straight and nice. If you have a good substrate, go ahead and sand, seal, and paint over it. Don't really do extra work if you don't have to. If that substrate is not peeling or cracking or doing anything crazy, go ahead and paint over it. But if it is like that was on this hood, I go ahead and use like an aircraft remover. If you're using an aircraft remover, be sure that you get the original formula. Some of the formulas don't work so well. The formulas that has the low odor and stuff like that. So try to get the original formula of that aircraft remover. It works the best. For a car that has surface rust, and it's not really that bad, you can media blast, clean it, put the direct to metal primer on it, and go on top of it with whatever you want to go on top of it with. But for this car, we decided that acid dipping it was going to be the best method. The cost of that is $2,800 per body shell. It gets it really clean. I mean, it gets everything out of the car. That's the good side. That's the pros. The cons are, if you consider it a con, you have to get each panel dipped, right? So $450 for each fender. It's going to be $450 for the hood, door, trunk, and whatever else you might want to get dipped. So that all adds up. So you have to keep those costs in mind when you decide to get one dipped. In our case, instead of dipping the panels that detach from the car, we just purchased new sheet metal. It was a whole lot cheaper to do it that way. The company that I used to get this Mustang stripped is Chem Strip of Burlington, North Carolina. They have a place in South Carolina also, but we used the one in Burlington, North Carolina. We took it all the way down to the shell, put it on the trailer, took it over. They unloaded it, put it on a pallet, and the rest is basically history. The magic happened inside the building. We got it back in this condition. Now, that's going to take everything out of the car. It takes out the lead, it takes out the seam sealer, it takes out whatever that's in that vehicle. So all that stuff is going to have to be put back. They inform you of that when you're getting one stripped, that you're going to go ahead and you're going to have to coat the panels, because if you don't coat the panels from the inside out, it's going to leak rust. When it rains or you drive it in the rain or whatever, the water gets inside of the blind panels, and it'll just leak rust. It'll drain rust into your driveway or wherever you park the vehicle at. Chem Strip coated it with something that kept it from flash rusting, but once you get it back in your possession, now you can start the sheet metal work and not really worry about it flash rusting. So I had to go ahead and fabricate a few panels. You have to, well, not a few. I fabricated a lot of panels and replaced a whole lot more panels. Now, we had cut out, when I recycled this metal from this car, it weighed in at 480 pounds of metal that I cut out of this car. Basically, I could stand in the back of this car and look all the way through it, because there was no tail light panel, there was no firewall, there was no floor, there was nothing. It was basically a shell. Only thing that was left on this car that was usable was the top. Use basically an oxide colored epoxy primer to go ahead and coat the blind panels. Basically, you have a lot of panels you don't even realize that you have that need to be coated, like inside of the frame rails and a lot of other stuff that's kind of boxed in that you can't get to. You're going to have to make some kind of nozzle, get in there and just spray it and rotate the vehicle or whatever you're going to coat so it coats kind of all the panels all the way around. So that was basically my process of doing it. I mean, probably a lot of different ways of doing it, but I have a rotisserie, so I just put it on a rotisserie and just go to spraying and rotating. I've painted thousands of vehicles, so I have the experience to speak to you about, what kind of substrates you can paint over and what kind that you shouldn't paint over. Usually can tell by just doing a little test panel that the paint is already cracking, chipping, or doing anything that you don't think is good. Do not paint over it. Go ahead and get it back down to the bare metal. Or if it's like some of the old acrylic paint that they use way back in the day, go ahead and take all that off and start over. If it's a base coat, clear coat, you're probably good to go ahead and just water sand and paint over, and you can get a real high quality finish. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, share it with anyone you think may help, and catch you on the next video. Thanks.